All right. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Divrse Podcast, the number one careers podcast on the planet. Today I'm here with Subomi, who's a really interesting founder in the sports media space. Subomi, do you want to give a quick intro and let everyone know a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Subomi. I'm founder of a sports marketing agency called Divrse Media. Essentially, what we do is we bridge brands to the Gen Z audience, essentially through meaningful marketing campaigns and moments as well. So yeah, I've been in the space for about 2 years now. Essentially, I kind of started in marketing and working within the Converse brand, and then managed to go out and do my own thing. So that's been my journey so far.
I love that. Yeah, I love that you just dived in and went for it and built it yourself because, that's what I did as well. You did the smart thing by changing the spelling of diverse to stand out a little bit more. So I'm a little bit jealous of that, but well
We've
done
got to
for what you built.
differentiate ourselves.
I like it. What are some examples of the types of work that you've done before and who have you worked with as well in terms of athletes?
Yeah, so our main athlete that we work with right now is Alex Iwobi. He plays for Everton, but is also a Nigerian international. I've done a lot of interesting work with him actually. He's super big with community, so we've done a lot in terms of we did a campaign with Heinz and a breakfast charity called Magic Breakfast. This was during the pandemic actually, and it came about so randomly. So Alex is kind of known for eating egg and beans, and whenever he scores, the fans are like, "Eat more, eat more, eat more." And Hans also kind of caught wind of that as well. And Hans and Weetabix decided to do this campaign during the pandemic when everyone was losing their mind with Weetabix and baked beans together. I'm not sure if you saw that, but it was a very interesting time. It went viral on Twitter and stuff like that. And Hans kind of asked Alex, what do you think about this? And obviously Alex put in a group chat, guys, what should I say? And we're like, let's play with this and see what happens. So it's like, I'm not too sure. He kind of sent a picture with baked beans and Weetabix, like, I'm not too sure. And then from that, we started chatting to Heinz, and we started chatting to the agency behind their marketing. And like, why don't we do like a competition where we get people to eat, donate, and nominate? And just through that, we are able to kind of feed about 60,000 kids just through that campaign alone. So yeah, that's just an example of the kind of work we've done and the type of people we worked with as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, to have helped that many people, you should be really proud of that campaign, definitely. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm a little bit sad to see him go, but it's great that he's doing big things. How did you get connected to him? Have you known him before, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so I did know him before, but we weren't kind of like the closest of friends as we are now. But I was really good friends with his right hand, essentially. Like you said, Alex used to be at Arsenal, star boy, like a young upcoming player there. And obviously when you're in London, the phone's always kind of ringing, especially when you're playing for Arsenal as well. But as he moved to Everton, started living in Liverpool area, the phone's not ringing as much. So him and my really good friend were very much like, what can we do to kind of raise his profile so he doesn't kind of just go like just kind of lose that kind of limelight in that sense. And he kind of was planning to do YouTube. And whilst I was over at Converse, because like Alex has got a huge personality, he's very like charismatic, very out there in a sense. So yeah, he wanted to start kind of just vlogging and kind of showing a bit more of his life and personality. And whilst I was at Converse, I was always trying to see what we could do with other athletes as well. And Alex was the main one just due to the connection I had with him. So they always knew that Shibomi is a marketing, so he's a kind of marketing guy. So one day when they were kind of filming or they just kind of posted something, I just popped up and said, "Oh, what are you guys up to?" I was like, "Oh, like Alex is looking to start doing YouTube." I was like, "Oh, cool." They were like, "We actually wanted to get you involved. Like, let's have a call about it." So I got on the phone to them, started hearing a bit more about what they got planned, and just kind of with my experience, I very much was like, let me add a bit more to it. And from there, just started kind of working together. But that was also when I just kind of started my agency as well. So just kind of took the opportunity to say, I've also got an agency here that were very much focused on marketing. Let's do some work there as well. And then from there, managed to get him as one of our first clients in the sports space, and then just able to kind of build that case study and kind of put our name out there a bit more.
So you shot your shot and you made it. Yeah, it looks like you don't
Yeah,
miss.
you kind of have to, man. You have to have initiative in the game essentially, and kind of take whatever opportunities that are handed with you and run with it, man.
Definitely, definitely love that. So what made you, because I think it's a scary journey to go on, right? Entrepreneurship, like you're leaving the safe working world and you're leaving a really good brand as well in Converse. What made you feel confident that, you could go out there in sort of a difficult, economic period in a lot of ways and build a business from scratch, but by yourself almost? Like, what gave you that confidence?
Do you know what? I don't know if it's confusion or delusion, but either way, so basically, I've always kind of been entrepreneur. Always knew I kind of wanted my own business, and luckily, I managed to get onto Converse through an opportunity that came to me, and but I was on a work placement essentially only for 6 months. And the aim was always to kind of get that changed into a longer term role. Whilst I was over there, I managed to kind of, so the whole story, I managed to stretch my time essentially for a year, because I pitched for a project. Essentially, I pitched for them to do that their first Black History Month in the UK, and Black History Month is in October, but my work placement was meant to end in June. So because I kind of pitched that idea in February, I was working towards it till June. Then everything happened with George Floyd, and they were kind of like he's got a great idea. We want to really work on this, so like let's keep him on. So I was on till October to see the campaign through. Then I was able to consult till the end of the year essentially. Um, so through that, I was already there longer than I was supposed to. But once my time at Converse came to an end, I had such a great time there doing such impactful work. I was also kind of scared that if I go into another brand, I may not have that much of a say so in a sense. But I kind of noticed that agencies, especially those that position themselves as like thought leaders or people that brands want to work with because they actually are doing impactful stuff. And like I'm 26 now. I was about 23 at the time, 24. And also just in the workplace, there's a lot of hierarchy. You're new, you're an intern. I didn't get that at Converse at all. But if I'm over at another brand, I was just very scared. So I was like, you know what, if I actually want to make the change I want to see in the world, it's best for me to kind of position myself as a agency, a thought leader, someone that people have to listen to because I'm known as a professional in the space. So I was very much like, you know what, an agency is the best look. It's the best opportunity. I saw other agencies that Converse worked with, and I saw people that look like me. For example, PAQ was the agency that we worked with for the Converse Black History Month campaign, and just seeing like an all black team and they're all young guys having fun as well. I was like, I could do the same. So once again, you got to see to believe it. But that gave me a lot of confidence. And then also, like, was still living at my parents' house. Didn't really have much bills to pay. And also, I kind of thought I'd rather spend like 10 years working on my business than 10 years working at another agency, learning the game, and then like going out to start because I'll have a lot more responsibilities, but also like those 10 years spent at that agency could have been 10 years spent on mine. And I'm going to learn the same things, but a lot faster because I'm very much sink or swim in that sense as well. So that's what led me to just go out and start and just figure out along the way. Like, it's like jumping out of a plane without no parachute, but making sure I land safely in a sense.
And yeah, I'm the same, man. I kind of dived in that way and felt the same thing in the sense of like, this is the point now where I've got the least amount of responsibilities and the most energy. So, it's like you got nothing to lose and everything to prove to yourself, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
agreed.
the perfect time to start building something. And it's so true. The learning curve as an entrepreneur is it's crazy because I think it's because you're constantly pushing. You
Yeah.
don't think, sometimes when you're in the corporate world, you think, okay, I got to do this project, I got to get it done, and then it's done.
Hmm.
Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, you think, I need to make revenue or else this business is not going to
Yeah.
survive. So I need to make this service or this product as amazing as I possibly can with the funds that I've got
Yeah.
because I've got to stand out against the competitors. Then I got to learn to sell really well. So I need to develop sales skills out of necessity. And because it's
Mhm.
this necessity, it's like you're going to push yourself to really, watch all these
Yeah.
YouTube videos, read these books, on how to sell well and really learn it. And I think that's the best way to learn, right? When
No,
you need
honestly.
to, and then you apply it, right?
No, 100%. Like entrepreneurship makes you your best version of yourself, and it's so interesting because there's so many things I used to say I wouldn't do. I remember firstly my first role straight out of uni was in business development, right? And I always liked marketing, so I wanted to do marketing, not biz dev. And I kind of thought marketing was business development, but it's really not. Like business development is like not the sexy part of marketing. Do you know what I mean? Like I like the behind the scenes, coming up with ideas, that kind of stuff. Biz dev is picking up the phones, and I was always scared of picking up the phones or doing anything sales related. But as soon as it came to having my own business, like I will pick up that phone and I will make that call and I will have to sell it because, like you said, you need to make that revenue. So it really does push you to be your best self, and all those limiting beliefs you kind of place in your head, you have to kind of outgrow them or you have to unlearn them, just due to the fact that we are limitless in our capacity and our potential. So, like for example, me shying away from having to do calls when I was working for a company, and also it's easier to sell it when you believe it as well in that sense and when it's your own. So yeah, it really does push you to be your best version, and you can't really make any excuses if you really want to survive.
100%. And what do you think you've struggled with that that's been really difficult for you and you've sort of doubted whether you could do it, but then you've been able to, for whatever reason, overcome that challenge? Has there been an aspect, it could be in entrepreneurship or in your career before that, anything that stands out that was like, really difficult for you personally, you think?
Yeah, there's kind of always been a few struggles. One of them was kind of like public speaking. Because I'm a self-diagnosed introvert, so I like to very much. But my business partner won't believe me if I say this because he's seen me. But I think a lot of people have seen me from introvert to like extrovert or maybe ambivert in a sense, but a lot of the time I used to be very quiet. So public speaking, all those kind of things I'll shy away from. I'm not even now, I'm still not the loudest in the room, but I can very much talk and really hold my own. So a lot of the times I kind of struggled in terms of like pitching or going up to people, introducing myself, used to really shy away from those kind of things. I just wasn't really like, I won't even say that confident. I just used to overthink a lot of things. But over time, like I can like go to networking events by myself, introduce myself to anyone, even if it's like a huge celebrity. I will walk up to them and say, "Hi, this is my name. I'm Subomi. Nice to meet you." And so that was one thing I really had to overcome. And another one, and it's still something I'm working on right now, but I'm sure you have the same issue as every entrepreneur as well. But pricing, I always struggled with pricing, and I remember the first time I charged my first full figure invoice, I was so scared to send that invoice or to say that price, and it really wasn't a big deal at all. But I had another similar situation, um, like not too long ago, maybe like within the last year or so, where we were doing so much work for a client, and we kind of already agreed a price, but what the work we were doing was out of the scope. And a lot of the time, like it's like as a business, do you just want to make the client happy and then kind of take that sacrifice in that sense? Or kind of like remember you're a business, so you have to be paid for the extra hours you're doing. So yeah, I just kind of spoke to my business partner, like, yeah, like we need to charge them because these are billable hours. So kind of had a conversation with him, put together that email, was sweating as I was typing it, sent it over, and they were like, yeah, all good with the cost. So it's like a lot of the times pricing or like charging stuff like that gets very difficult. But with practice and with more confidence, that when you actually understand that this is a service you're offering, your time is worth your daily rate or your hourly rate or whatever you charge, that you shouldn't be afraid to charge people, your customers or whatever. So that was another kind of obstacle I had to kind of overcome, and I'm probably still overcoming right now as well.
Yeah, me too. I always get nervous, even now, just sending off a quote or whatever. I'm getting nervous just thinking about it. You just email it and like close your email. It's like you don't want to see it in the
Exactly.
outbox, you know. So no, definitely, I'm definitely with you on that. And I think you always, when you first start, you end up pricing way too low, and then you kind of like find your feet from there. And yeah, I've also had that like project scope creep thing happen to me as
Yeah,
well. So you
yeah,
want to clearly define what you're going to do beforehand and get
yeah,
to it. But again, these are the kind of things you don't learn in certain roles. So, you know, if you do get exposure, if you start your own side hustle or start your own small business, these are some of the benefits, I think,
yeah.
that you do get. So interesting. Okay, and so let's have a little chat about Converse then, and how you got that role, because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening and looking for roles. You know, we are at Diverse obviously help you get roles with brands that are really focused on, you know, diversity and inclusion and have early career opportunities. So how did that come about? How did you get your role at Converse?
Yeah, no, so it was actually a very interesting route because I always knew I wanted to be in marketing, but the way I got it wasn't through me applying for like a for the job because there was no job board. But essentially when I came out of university, I was just very much open. So I was just trying different things. So I signed up for a um like a character building program, and it's called 2020 Change. Shout 2020 Change, because they're an amazing organization. Essentially, they help ethnic minorities kind of transition into the real world from university and stuff, and just kind of become your best self. So I did that. I applied for it and I got it, and I was doing sessions with them for about 6 weeks. And I never knew that they were actually like sponsored or supported by Converse because it wasn't something that was really pushed out there as much. So they're a grassroots partner for Converse at the time, and Converse usually get their interns from, like, you have to be at certain universities, you have to be in your penultimate year, you have to do it as a gap year kind of stuff. And also you kind of have to be studying certain things. And also the only roles available is either on sales or PR communications. And this was the first time they were opening up their marketing work placement, but also opening it up to a different pool of people rather than the traditional route where you had to be from those kind of categories. So they were looking to give a member of the 2020 Change cohort a work placement for about 6 months. So the opportunity came, we got an email, every member of the cohort got an email saying apply for it. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me give it my best shot. Nothing to lose. So I applied for it, and this was also at a time where I had left that business development job, so I was just freelancing, just trying to just doing different bits and bobs and marketing for smaller businesses, like building websites and stuff like that. So I was like, cool. Well, I've got decent experience, and it's something I'm actually contributing and working towards. So let me just apply for it. Applied for it, managed to get my interview. Um, Done the interview, also had to put like a presentation together, put my heart and soul into it, and I got the role. And then, like I said, from my time at Converse, always thinking, how could I really maximize this opportunity and stretch it out? So that's very much how I got the Converse role and kind of made the most out of it as well.
Love it. And those like bits and bobs you mentioned, what was that exactly? Was that freelancing, agency work? What was
Yeah,
that?
no, so it was freelancing. So essentially, at university, how I got into marketing was I'm very into films and series, so that's all I do after work, right? Or just in general when I have some time. So I wanted to build something at university, so I decided to start a review platform. So I started a website, I created a website, kind of like a blog kind of stuff, and then started an Instagram page as well as Twitter and all that stuff. And I started building community online, so I was learning a lot about social media marketing. And then I built a website as well, so I learned about building and designing websites. So after that, I was like, well, I've now learned a skill that I can monetize. So I started kind of building websites for smaller businesses, and then did that for smaller businesses. Then also did social media management and marketing as well for these businesses, whilst I was kind of like, when I didn't have a job, this is what I was doing during that transition period, and then I got Converse after.
Nice. And do you think you obviously studied business management and economics, right? Before getting the role at Converse. To what extent do you think your degree helped you in the role? Did that play a factor at all in
Um,
sort of your success over the years?
it didn't, and I'm glad I went to university. I'm glad I studied, and business economics was my most tailored degree for me in that sense, in terms of my interests and stuff like that. However, I was very much taught surface level things. there's a lot that I can probably apply and stuff, but you're always learning. So everything that kind of applies to my business now or to the roles I had in the past was just through on the job learning essentially. But I do not regret having those 3 years in university just due to the fact, like I said, I started my business there where I learned a lot about marketing. I was now able to kind of put into this. So yeah, I wouldn't say I had to, and also because of the way I got into marketing through that 2020 change program, I didn't have to have a degree essentially. So it wasn't something I was looked at in that sense. It was more your passion, your just like curiosity, all that kind of stuff. Those kind of values that employers look for in that sense. And that's one thing I love about the creative world, because even when I was over at Converse, there was people that studied history. They didn't do anything marketing related, but they had a certain kind of passion or curiosity around humans, human interaction, storytelling, that kind of stuff as well. So I also learned a lot from Mad Men as well. That series, they do a lot. They teach you a lot about marketing, copywriting, building an agency life back in the 70s as well. So yeah, just constantly learning, reading books. That's how I kind of got more qualified for those type of positions and where I'm at now.
Yeah, you're definitely like a TV movie buff, right? You're learning how to build your agency from Mad Men. That's crazy.
Yeah, honestly, like I highly recommend Mad Men. Ballers as well is a really good one as well, because
All as I
that's a lot
like, yeah.
on sports marketing as well. There's a few, but yeah, I'm really a TV and film buff.
So Mad Men, Ballers, yeah, you definitely learn about business through those mediums. And it's like it's interesting, right? It's exciting, and Entourage as well. If you're interested in
Oh, I
like being
love
an agent,
Entourage.
yeah,
Entourage
it's
is one of
another
my
one.
favorites because yeah, it very much reminds me of like life sometimes as well, and just how like especially with athletes as well, they have so many different people in the corner. I'm just kind of playing different roles as well. Yeah, I love Entourage. I only watched it recently, but yeah, I kind of binged it all the way out. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's an easy binge right there, Entourage.
Mhm.
So awesome. So you had a really good year there. It sounds at Converse, and I guess that taught you a lot. I mean, do you have any advice for any young person listening out there who maybe wants a career in marketing? It might be something you've learned from doing marketing. It might be how to get in, whatever you like. But yeah, there's a lot of people that do want roles in marketing, and it feels like they can be quite competitive. And I also think the interesting thing with marketing is it's one of the few roles where we have exposure to it before we get
Mhm.
into the working world. We see
Yeah,
we are the target customers of
yeah,
name a brand. And so I think because of that, people think they know marketing, they
yeah,
get marketing, but actually there's a lot to learn, right? It's not as easy as it looks, right? Because I
yeah.
think it's almost accessible in a way that makes it seem quite straightforward. But yeah, have you got any advice for someone interested in a career in marketing?
Yeah, no, definitely. Firstly, one thing I say to people all the time is be curious. So always learning about new things, be open-minded, speak to different people. So because with marketing, like you said, we all have interactions with marketing, but marketing is expressed essentially conversation, human interaction, that kind of stuff. How do you kind of tell this story to this specific community or this audience and do it in an authentic way, but will also drive a result or a kind of call to action as well. So firstly, be curious, but also like start learning different things, different people. Like for example, psychology. These kind of things is what you can bring into your role. And also, what I'll say as well to like people who are trying to get into market, especially young people, is to understand that brands need their insight. So one thing in Converse was I was very much made to feel special because I'm their target consumer. So the head of marketing, the vice president, all of them will always ask for my insights. So don't feel as if you don't have any experience in that sense. You have what the organizations want. So always kind of pay mind to that and understand what are young people talking about, what are the issues young people are passionate about right now, or the issues young people are experiencing. So essentially, when you do get into that interview room, you can bring your level of you can bring your insight, you can bring who you are as a person, your background into that interview, so people can know that yeah, you're going to bring more to the role than just what's required of you, which is your job spec essentially. And also just look at how you can build a specific skill. because organizations, for example, me especially as a employer in a sense, we want people that, obviously it's always difficult because people can't really have experience if it's their first role, but take some time out to learn a skill. There's so many things available online, especially on YouTube. I taught myself a lot of the skills I have now. So for example, copywriting, I have a newsletter that I drop every Monday. And the reason why I start my newsletter was to learn copywriting, and you have to learn from doing. So take the time out to learn a skill and to also have something tangible to show for it. So, for example, I've been writing my newsletter for 2 years now, and I've written a newsletter every Monday for the last 2 years. So, if I was to apply for a job and the employer asks, "Have you ever shown a time where you've shown commitment or whatever?" I'll be like, "Hey, this is my newsletter. I've been writing it for 2 years every Monday, and I haven't missed a Monday." That kind of shows qualities to the employer that, okay, he's reliable, he's hardworking, he's committed, and all these kind of things as well. So whilst you're still waiting to get an opportunity to um, apply to get a role or to interview and to show them how great you are, build things on the side so you can bring it to the interview or even just to your application as well, where they can see certain skills and qualities that is very much attractive to them as well. So don't just apply for jobs, also build things, because we're in such a stage right now where you're able to do these things. Like the internet is legit your portal. You can do so much with it. So don't just wait until you get a job to start learning about marketing. Do it beforehand so you can show your employer that I kind of already have these qualities and I can already bring these things into your organization in a sense.
Great advice. Yeah. There's not really anything I can add to that. I think I've experienced that as well in terms of marketing. I think, I think people talk about marketing as a general thing, but really it's kind of crazy, right? Because there's so many different micro components. You could be amazing at copywriting, or you could be brilliant at video editing or content ideas. Like those things are in a lot of ways like completely unrelated. And learning how to manage an Instagram page, like what captions work and staying on top of the trends. Those are all like completely different skills. So I think you're right. It's about picking one and really honing in on it. And you probably have done something similar to me. When you sort of run a business, you identify, okay, my copywriting might not be where it needs to be, and so I'm going to do a course to do it. And I've done a couple of courses. Try to remember. There's I did Sean Puri's course. He has a podcast called My First Million, and I did another one with Neville Medora. It's just called Copywriting Course with 2Ks. And I did both of those, and that just made a huge difference to my ability. Anything that involves the written word is just way better for me. So LinkedIn posts or any ads that we do or the writing on my website is just better. Like I went from being okay at copywriting to really good from doing that course, and that just I think makes a huge difference in your ability to be a marketer. So I think that's the key, really, isn't it? Identify those skills and just really getting deep into it. And I think one of the best things about marketing is it does change, so you can kind of come in fairly late-ish and learn and kind of get ahead of everyone else, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's making yourself as attractive as possible, and also coming in, because also once you get in a role, last thing you want is imposter syndrome. Honestly, like a lot of the times, once you get the role, you're like, what am I actually contributing here? All these kind of things. And also, it naturally happens because it's your first big job out of university. You might find that there's so much going on, so your manager may not have as much time to look after you. You kind of just have to get stuck in and act like you've been here for 5 months. Do you know what I mean? But so yeah, a lot of the times imposter syndrome can kick in. But once you already know that I have the skill set and this is what I'm here to do, it's like, yeah, this is what I contributed. I contributed to the final idea stage, even though I didn't come up with a campaign idea, but I added 1-2 pence in there, and that kind of helps in terms of fighting imposter syndrome. Like you'll still get it, but once you know that you are contributing something, you're not just there for the sake of being there, and you're actually working. Because with marketing, you can kind of see like a direct response, whether like a lot of people like it, like if you get a lot of likes on Instagram or you don't. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it can be quite black and white in a sense, like, oh yeah, this campaign did really well because these were the metrics hit. So you can very much see what you're contributing towards it in that sense. So it's always good to have a skill to bring it into the organization, because you can see very black and white what you contribute to it as well.
100%, totally agree. And yeah, it's not for everyone in that sense because it is so transparent, but when it hits, it's, you know, one of the best feelings ever. And you know, in terms of your career, you want to like make notes of those hits that you do get and put
Yeah.
them on your CV, and that's what's going to help you in the future as well. So yeah, great advice there. I think yeah, really hone in on those skills and yeah, take a lot of responsibility. I think you're right. A lot of people do start, they get their first role in marketing, and then they realize, you know, oh, this is a lot of responsibility. My manager's always busy. I've got to do it myself. But I think that's the space that you grow in, right? When
Yeah,
when
exactly.
you are out of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where you want to be in your career. So yeah, keep pushing if that's where you're at. I kind of like to ask this question now. I wanna ask you, who do you think, and this could be someone you know, it could be a celebrity, it could be someone you follow, a podcast, I don't know. Who do you think has the best job in the world? And that could be, you know, an entrepreneur who has, you know, that's their role. It could be someone you know, could be yourself. I don't know. But who do you think has the best job in the world?
Do you know what? That's a very good question. Like, firstly, I think working with footballers very much showed me it's not the best job in the world. Um, a lot of people think just because they get paid so much money, it's very much worth it. They get paid a lot of money, but also with what comes with it, it's a lot, and they're just human. So at first, I would say footballers. I think my answer is anyone who is truly pursuing what they're passionate about and are able to kind of make a living out of it in a sense. So that could be it. So like entrepreneurs or anyone even in an organization, if you can see like a direct impact with the work you're doing and you wake up every day and you're very much like happy to go into work, like I feel like that is one of the best jobs in the world. To answer your question though, I also feel like pilots as well. If I was to actually say a role, pilots, just I would love to see like what they see in that sense. But also there's a lot of pressure on them as well. So it's hard. So my actual ideal answer would be anyone who wakes up and is able to do what they love for a living. And like with all the stress that comes with it, you're still happy to do it just due to the fact that you know and you feel like you were born to do it.
Yeah, well, I think I mean, you nailed it because I feel the same way. You know, when you feel that you've really got something that you connect well with, it's not that it doesn't feel like work, but
Yeah,
it's so easy to come in every
yeah,
day and keep going on it and feel like you're building something. And I also have a friend who's a pilot and he loves it. He's always smiling ear to ear. So that's probably a good answer as
yeah.
well. Just as we wrap up, have you got anything you want to plug? So it could be your newsletter, you know, how employers can find you, how anyone can find you.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, like I said, I got a marketing newsletter for people interested in marketing. So it's shibomi.substack.com. So yeah, once every Monday, always dropping some sort of interesting stories around interesting marketing campaigns or organizations and stuff they're doing. But also we just dropped, so this is more for the brands. We just finished our Gen Z social media consumption report. Very much talking about how Gen Z are consuming football content. So for the football brands or for even just for other sports as well, just to understand what Gen Z are looking at, what they're passionate about, what they're interested in right now. We just dropped that. So you can find it on our website, diversemedia.com. So yeah, that took quite a lot of effort, but it was super interesting to get the responses and just to see what Gen Z is looking at, what they're passionate about, how brands can engage with them in more impactful ways, more meaningful ways as well. So yeah, that's just what we just finished doing as well.
Could you give us like a sneak peek? Is there one way your brand listening they can think they can engage better with Gen Z?
Yeah, so in a very like specific, for example, football way, there's the dual screen supremacy we call it. So nowadays that Gen Z are watching, and not just Gen Z as well. You probably do, we probably all do the same. But they're watching football as well as having their phones on in their hands. So they're scrolling to our Instagram, TikTok whilst the match is going on, and they're also engaging with other football pages, whether it's football content creators that are tweeting or posting content on socials. So it's how can brands leverage that opportunity as well, or how can football clubs as well leverage that opportunity to keep their fans engaged, knowing that they're watching the match, but they're also tweeting about it, and kind of whether it's expressing frustration, whether it's expressing gratitude or love for a player, how can brands leverage this opportunity as well? So yeah, that was one of the quite interesting insights as well. How can brands very much take advantage of this opportunity as well? And also another one is they're buying more into players, and I'm sure a lot of clubs are noticing that as well. Is it more like an athlete first approach right now? So yeah, how can clubs very much leverage this opportunity with making the athletes kind of bigger brands, essentially?
Interesting. So yeah, go check that out. Go subscribe on Substack as well. I'll put the link in the description as well. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast, and we'll keep these coming. And if you're looking for a role like right now, do head over to our job board at wearediverse.io or sign up to our newsletter as well, and we'll make sure you find out about all these wonderful opportunities with our employers. But yeah, Subomi, just want to say a big thank you for giving up some time and sharing some great advice, man. I think this really hit this one.
No worries at all, and thank you for having me on. And I also want to give you your flowers as well, man. Like, having listened to a podcast like this whilst in my final year of university would have helped a lot, and then also your organization as well, helping young people like myself back then get into roles that they would love and be passionate about, and brands that they don't know how to get into. Like, you guys are creating a clear path for these young people, which is amazing to see. So hats off to you, man. You're doing an amazing job.
Appreciate it. Awesome. All right, perfect place to leave it. Let's leave it there.